Okay, apologies for the delay on this video, but I was at work when this news broke. Max Pacioretty has been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights from Montreal in return for Thomas Tatar, Nick Suzuki, and a second-round draft pick from 2019. So let's have a look at it. Pacioretty, been captain of the Montreal Canadiens now for several seasons. He's been in a leadership role in the team for a while, and it's clearly weighing down his game. There's a lot of pressure when you're captain or an assistant captain in Montreal. The press are on your back. Some of the fan base are on your back. And I think that's weighed him down. The fact he's not a French Canadian or doesn't speak French as a secondary language also is a negative. In Montreal, they expect their players to be bilingual. They expect their coaches to be bilingual, and they expect their general managers to be bilingual. And in this day and age, this is not 1967. This is 2018. It's only sections of the fan base and sections of the media. They have this obsession with the French Canadian connection, and it's dated, and it's probably harming the team than helping them. But that's my personal view on that. So let's have a look at the trade in depth. So Pacioretty's gone to Vegas. Vegas have given up Thomas Tatar, which is just a cap dump. He's not producing at the level expected of his salary. They got him from Detroit at the trade deadline. It was a cap dump, but as the season ended, no one was sure what was going to happen. I think Vegas are happy to get rid of him. He's one of the few players to go into the Golden Knights and not get better. He's basically even worse than when they got him. Nick Suzuki, fine, talented young prospect. One issue, he's on the small side. Yes, he's a forward. Yes, he's a goal scorer. Yes, he's a creative player. He's quick with his hands and his feet, so he's mobile. He's only 5'8" or so. He's really small by NHL standards, so that's a concern, is his lack of size. Apart from that, he's got all the attributes of a great skill player, and he is a scorer. And he's been developing well in the minor leagues, developing really well. I think Vegas have looked at the fact they're in the Western Conference. They've looked at his size. They obviously clearly liked what they had there. Size was a concern from the organisation. Gerard Gallant and George McPhee obviously decided, okay, we want to get Pacioretty. We want to strengthen and win now because they got so close to winning the Stanley Cup last year. Pacioretty's a proven goal scorer when he's not being hounded by the media, and he's confident. You know Pacioretty can score. They brought him in to do that. Suzuki, he's not ready for the NHL level yet. They're happy to move on. It wouldn't surprise me if Suzuki comes back to Vegas at some point down the line in a trade. And that second round draft pick in 2019, which, looking at how Vegas probably will do this season, it's probably going to be a very late second round draft pick, and probably that player won't play in the NHL for a couple of seasons, so it doesn't actually help Montreal now, which is what they need. So I actually think Montreal have lost out on this trade, and Marc Bergevin has really done a bad bit of business, because Thomas Tatar is just a cap dump. Yeah, he's not playing at the level that is expected of that salary. Nick Suzuki, it's a risk taking him because he hasn't really had any NHL time. He's played a few preseason games last year. He was very talented and showed a lot of promise, but again, not quite NHL ready yet, I wouldn't have thought. And size is an issue, and an unspecified draft pick who, it could be anyone. It could be drafting first, they could be drafting last. It depends where Vegas finishes this season, so that's a big risk on that part. I'm not against stacking up draft picks, but they need first rounders really, because the team needs to get better as soon as possible, because this is a mess. Then we've got to look at the history behind the trade. Part of the reason why the trade happened was Vegas had to agree to discuss a contract extension. Reports that are coming out in the Canadian media. And allegedly within the last hour, Vegas were already on contract discussions for an extension, which is very important, part of the reason for the trade. But he's requested a trade 3 times in 5 years. That is telling that he's not been happy at Montreal for a very, very long time. Very long time. He's not been a happy player. And the fact they've missed the playoffs now badly, and there's, that doesn't look like a happy dressing room to me. PK Subban moving, that created a stir a couple of years ago for Shea Weber. This is going to melt down the internet. I have no doubt. It's all over Twitter. It's already all over YouTube on other channels. And now I'm having a go at it. This is going to melt down the internet. Whatever contract is discussed is obviously, it could be like up to 7 years is what Vegas can give him. Up to 7 years on the contract extension. I don't think they'll give him 7 years, and I don't think he may want to stay there for 7 years, but they can give him up to 7 years. But that is a telling tale of unhappiness and frustration from the player. I don't think Mark Bergevin is doing the best job as GM. I really don't. Um, the Montreal fan base is expectant. They are. And Pacioretty, Patches took a lot of heat in the media, and from some fans, he took a lot of abuse in the media, a lot of criticisms of his game. But when you're captain of Montreal, you've got to expect that. Most successful team in NHL history, the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup, you're going to expect a lot of heat coming your way, and it put him off his game. He wasn't happy. He's a confidence player. He didn't look happy, he didn't look confident, and I think he wanted out for quite some time. The fact that his agent went on Twitter and basically blew up the internet a couple of weeks ago probably has sped this up. Um, but there's been I think some of Mark Bergevin's trades in the last couple of years don't make a lot of sense to me. Thomas Tatar for Max Pacioretty makes sod all sense to me. Nick Suzuki, it's a risk taking a player like him because of his size, not because of his skill level. He's got that. It's his size. And the NHL, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster. Yes, they're getting younger, and he is young, and he's got a long career ahead of him at any level. If he was playing in Europe, he's getting first team minutes. He's getting first team appearances in any European league. He's not. He's playing in the. He's aiming to play in the NHL. So that he might get traded again as pieces, and that second round draft pick could be relayed on in the second round, which doesn't necessarily help Montreal. So I think Vegas have definitely won this trade. They've got rid of an unnecessary contract. Yes, they got rid of a young player, but he is actually on a contract as well, so that's 2 contracts gone. And yeah, they are discussing a contract extension. Patrick might even want to stay for a couple of years. They can offer him up to 7 years, so it's dependent on the player really. But Vegas, and what I would see as he would fit well on in that team. He doesn't have to be a leader, which will help his game and relieve that pressure from his game because it's clearly been weighing on him. And Vegas, yes, there's a lot of press interest, but in a different way. It's a new team. They're not expecting to win. What happened last year was an amazing story, but I think Vegas fans would be just happy if they just get back in the playoffs. What's happening in Vegas is a positive atmosphere, and I think he needs that. But there we go. I think Vegas have won the trade, and there we go. Mark Bergevin, I don't know what he's doing. George McPhee has reinvented the GM role that he was struggling at for many years at the Washington Capitals. He's decided to touch Mother Earth and drink holy water or something because he's done something magical. And Mark Bergevin has got himself hosed in a trade yet again. My personal view on it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below. I want to hear some from Montreal and Vegas fans because you guys are always really interesting. I love hockey fans on my channel. It's brilliant. I'll have some more videos for you soon.